let's get started with Alan Wake. And Alan Wake, oddly enough, was, I would say, in the first couple of batches of games that I played on the 360 and bought as well, added to my collection. And I got it from a friend of a friend or something who worked at Microsoft, and they got a good deal from that physical Microsoft store they used to have, not like the digital stuff they do now. But they had an actual store where you could buy games, and it had, of course, that huge sticker on there, which, just for knowledge, that's not like a collectible thing. That's like the worst sticker in history. That's worse than GameStop stickers or anything you can imagine, because you can't get it off. And I don't know whose idea that was, but I think Microsoft, as we've seen over the years, they don't always have the best ideas. But the game itself, though, you know, when they acquired Remedy, that was probably one of their better moves, I would say. And I didn't know too much about Alan Wake when I played it or when I bought this. I bought it with Halo Reach and Gears 2. So I tried to just kind of go for the exclusives. And since I got, 50% off via that person, then this was a really good purchase at the time. And I got my 360 about a year after this game came out, and I was trying to play games that had just come out around that time. I wasn't trying to go back to the very beginning, because Scarole and I, we covered that in our PS3 360 video last year, where I picked certain games based on my history with it, and I played some of the early games, but then I took a break. And then it just kind of made the natural progression to this. And boy, yeah, this was a big surprise. I love Remedy. I love Max Payne. And Alan Wake was one of those games that I feel like it's very replayable. And I've played, the remaster one, which I thought was really good as well, of course, with all the DLC. And, it's a very accessible game these days. And I remember seeing people talk about this last year when everyone was making 360 videos, and I was surprised to hear that a lot of people hadn't played Alan Wake. I thought that was kind of a given, seeing that it was an exclusive on 360. So, but yeah, absolutely phenomenal game. I think it's one of the best on this console, and I'm glad to see that they remastered it, and definitely a must to play if you have a 360. And yeah, really good game. And here's an interesting one. This was one of the earlier 360 games I played in co-op. So I had a buddy who, we were playing another game at the time, and he was just like, yeah, do you know of any co-op games? And I think I just went to GameStop and just kind of looked at this one, and I saw that it had like online 2-player co-op, and at the time I didn't really play that much multiplayer, especially not in this one, but yeah, so we played this one, and I thought this one was surprisingly fun, actually. In later years, I've grown to resent this one a little bit because they shut down the servers and I couldn't complete the game, but the achievements and stuff like that. But I think as a game, this was really fun. This back-to-back mechanics, and I think it was the aggro system they had and stuff. So yeah, I think this one is worth a try if you don't care about unobtainables and all that kind of stuff. Give this one a try if you haven't. But yeah, really fun co-op game, co-op shooter, third-person shooter, I should say. So, and of course we had another couple of games in that same series. Here's Army of Two, the 40th Day. I haven't actually played this one, so I definitely do want to play this one at some point. I don't know why I skipped over this one. It was kind of weird because a lot of people say that this one is probably the best one. But yeah, really cool. And I forgot to mention like the cool masks you can have too. So I don't quite remember if those gave you special powers or special skills or anything, but I think it was more for aesthetics, just to look cool. But yeah, definitely, again, co-op as well. And then this one I think is a little bit overlooked. Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel. I really enjoyed this one. And I don't think I played this one in co-op. But I will say your AI partner is a beast in this one. So if you just wanted to play the single player with the AI partner, he is absolute beast. Yeah, so it's definitely doable versus maybe the first two that were a little bit harder to play solo with the AI partner. He was not as smart, but in this one, yeah, it's definitely doable and just more of the same, really. I feel like it was more action-packed, adrenaline, and more fast-paced. So I really enjoyed this one, actually. I thought it was really good. So, but yeah, definitely check out the Army of Two games. I don't know if people talk about these games anymore, but definitely play the EA games, I should say, now, because they might shut down stuff. But then, as I was saying that, I realized they shut down most of the stuff in these games, so you can't really trust EA with their stuff. But I would definitely say, when it comes to them, jump on the games now if you want to try to get all achievements and all multiplayer stuff and that kind of stuff. So okay, moving on, and I'm going to go through these relatively quick. I still think it's relevant to go through them because these games were peak on the 360 in my opinion. And of course that is Assassin's Creed. Not so much this one, though. I wouldn't say this was peak Assassin's Creed, but, you know, you got to start somewhere. So I thought this game was probably pretty mid, to be honest. I wish they would remaster the first one. I think this one could do with a remaster with better controls and better graphics and everything. And let the guy swim. I mean, this guy can't even swim, I think. So, yeah, it's either this or Assassin's Creed 2. Like, one of them, like, you can't even swim. So, I think they had a good premise, though. Like, the actual assassination missions are very good, but the lead up to the missions are so boring. They're so repetitive. It's just like the same stuff over and over. I definitely wish they would remaster this one. I think that would be really good, but we'll see if they ever do. And then we move on to Assassin's Creed 2, which was the first Assassin's Creed that I played. I mean, this is a classic. I don't think there's anything I'll be able to say about this that other people haven't said already, but it's a must play, honestly. Ezio Trilogy is, in my opinion, the best of the series. And like I said, peak, this was the peak right here. And then you had Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which, you know, it's more or less like a bigger DLC, you know, when you look at it. And they did improve on the controls, I would say. They added a couple of features, but there's some really annoying 100% stuff you have to do in these. So, and then by 100%, I mean the achievements, and it's kind of unforgiving, I would say. And then the last one in the trilogy, Assassin's Creed Revelations. This one was also good. Not as good as the other two, I would say, but you get to see Altair a little bit too. So that is pretty cool. And then, of course, we had Assassin's Creed 3. After playing the Ezio Trilogy, and I remember pre-ordering this one, was very excited. A different setting, a different character, so it was going to be a little bit weird, especially since they had the Assassin's Creed the 3 in it. So maybe I was more expecting a continuation, which in some ways with Desmond and stuff it is, but I don't have many fond memories of this game. I think it was very buggy, very glitchy. Achievements were very grindy as well. You had to get like 100% completion. So if you go for that kind of stuff, you know exactly what I'm talking about in this game. The DLC was really good, though. I really liked the George Washington DLC in this one. But overall, the setting is probably one of the best ones in the series. But it just didn't come together for me. I'll still replay it, though. I have the remastered one on Xbox One. So I'll still play it. And I'm sure, you know, so many years later, I'll have a different opinion of it. But, you know, we'll see. It was definitely interesting to play it. And then Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. I mean, this is, a lot of people say that this is probably a better pirate game than it is a Assassin's Creed game, which might be true. I mean, I think this one is one of the better ones for sure. Definitely one of my favorite ones on the 360, so worth playing, and I played it on Xbox One as well. Got all the achievements in both, so that's kind of what I'm trying to do with Assassin's Creed. You know, they're relatively straightforward for the most part. And then lastly, we had Assassin's Creed Rogue. And this one was kind of, they flipped it a little bit here where an assassin turned Templar, and the Templar went after the assassins, or at least part of the creed. So yeah, interesting premise, and I thought the story was good, but the 100% here is completely unnecessary. It's like a, I don't know, 10-hour story, and they make you grind out stuff for 40 hours after it, and that's not cool, man. That's not cool at all. But if you just play it for the story, you'll probably like this one, but it's probably the weakest one, I would say, of the Assassin's Creed games on the 360. All right, let's move on from Assassin's Creed. There's a lot of Assassin's Creed. Let's just wait until we get to the other series that has a lot of games here. One of my favorites, Batman Arkham Asylum. And this was also one of the first ones that I played on 360. I actually got the console, and then I went to a GameStop, I don't know, within a week's time. And then I actually talked to the guy who worked at GameStop. He was clearly looking at me like I had no idea what I was doing, because I was relatively new to the console, of course. And he was like, "You looking for any particular games?" And I was like, "I don't know. I mean, I just kind of, picked up a couple games." And then he just literally said, "Have you played Batman Arkham Asylum?" I said, "No." And then he was just, this is one of the best superhero games in recent years. Like, it's probably the best one. And he wasn't wrong. I think this one is really good still to this day. And I think if you are new to collecting and playing on the 360, this is one of the first games I would buy. Seriously, especially if you like the DC universe and the Marvel stuff. Arkham Asylum is very accessible. I think it's the combat is much simpler in it, and there's obviously stealth in there, and free roam to some degree, and then it has that Metroidvania style in a sense where you have to unlock doors and do certain things before you can progress. So yeah, it's really good, really great game. And then we also had this version here. So this is the Game of the Year edition, but the one that you've probably seen is like the Platinum Hits, which is the first one that I owned as well. But it has a separate achievement list, and I just kind of came across it on Amazon many years ago, and I just kind of messaged the seller at the time, and I go like, "Is this the Platinum Hits?" And he said, "No, this is like the 3D artwork or like lenticular cover." And yeah, I think this one is really cool. So I put a little plastic bag on the outside of it just to make sure that it's in good shape still. And yeah, so I just wanted to show you guys this one in case you didn't even know this existed. But I don't know if this came out like this in other countries, but let's just call this the Canadian version. I don't know, just for the sake of whatever this is. But I absolutely love that one. One of my favorite collectibles on the 360 for sure. And then, of course, we had, and I didn't mean to slam the case down here, but yeah, that's, I was very excited to talk about Arkham City, I guess. So this is Batman Arkham City Game of the Year edition. So it comes with all the DLC and extra achievements and all that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty excited that I finally triple stacked this game in terms of achievements. I got the Games from Windows Live, the Xbox One, and then the 360 version was the first one I completed. But yeah, if you've played this, especially the DLC and the challenge mode, there's, I think I counted, and there's about 600 challenges you have to do in those 3 stacks combined. So yeah, that's a lot of Predator maps. That's a lot of combat challenges to do. So, and it's one of those things, like, I wish I'd kind of recorded. I wish I'd streamed doing all that kind of stuff, because now I'm like, okay, I guess I could do it on a different gamer tag. But yeah, it would have been cool, because yeah, some of those are pretty tricky. But overall, as a game, as a package, I mean, this one is so good. It's such a good game, and yeah, it might be my favorite actually, but it's hard to differentiate. I love all the Arkham games, so. But yeah, definitely get the Game of the Year edition if you are going to get that one on the 360. And then we had Batman Arkham Origins as well. We did like a Christmas episode that nobody watched, so so I talked about this game very briefly. It wasn't like a long, drawn-out segment about it, but I think this one actually surprised me, because I actually pre-ordered this one. I picked it up and I played it at launch. But of course, I was watching videos of people on PC, I believe it was Steam, that just had so many bugs and everything. But I don't think the 360 version had those types of bugs. So I didn't have any game-breaking bugs that would prevent me from playing this game. And, I think the one standout in this game are the boss fights, for sure. The boss fights are really exceptional in my opinion. They're way better than the boss fights in the other games, and where it kind of takes away a little bit from the rest of the experience, where it feels a little bit weird. The controls are not as responsive as Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, I would say. And then, since this is supposed to be like a prequel, then he has more gadgets in this one than he does in Arkham Asylum, kind of thing. So yeah, it was a little bit weird. And that's one thing that people don't talk about, actually, is that this game had multiplayer, which I did play. I did play this with friends. Not that great, I will say, because you had some third-person shooting, and then you played as Batman and Robin as kind of like the heroes, and then you had like 2 factions fighting each other. And so it was an interesting premise again, but it just, like, this game didn't need multiplayer. So thankfully, though, they, in a sense, not if you go for achievements, then it's not thankfully, but they did shut down the multiplayer at some point, so you can't get those achievements anymore. But yeah, it was a weird one. It was a weird completion, and not to mention you have to go through this game, I think, without dying as well. So I had like a permadeath mode as well. So yeah, interesting game for sure. Okay, moving on from one of my favorite series to another one of my, at the time at least, favorite series. And that was Battlefield. So I guess I could have just done more or less my favorites here, but I can go through these real quick. I didn't play this one. I didn't play Battlefield Bad Company at the time. I played it much later when it wasn't as populated, but I know obviously people love Bad Company, and I have a bunch of friends that talk about this one as the best Battlefield, and rightfully so. It's a lot of destruction, a lot of fun online, but for me it was more more of a mid experience, I would say, again, as a game, because I played some of the newer ones first and I went back to this one. But it's still good. It's like a old school 360 first person shooter, so if you're into those, then this is definitely a good place to start. And then here's Bad Company 2, which I did like better than the first one. I know a lot of people have fondness for the first Bad Company, but Bad Company 2 is really good. Even the campaign is good, and the multiplayer is good as well. So this one's great. I'm not sure. I think they shut down the multiplayer for most of the Battlefield games. So you just keep that in mind, of course. I think that was pretty well known. And of course, we're back to EA, so that shouldn't be a surprise. So I don't know if it's the same on the PS3, but I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. So Bad Company 2 is great. And then here's my absolute favorite, Battlefield 3. It was also the first Battlefield I played. And my buddy and I, we played this one for years. I mean, it was whenever this came out, 2012, 2011, something like that. And I think I'd played it at PAX as a demo and just went out and bought it day one. This one, sadly, is probably the only Battlefield game here that I would go back and play with all those amazing maps. I love this game. But they shut down the multiplayer in this one too, and that's very sad. I didn't even get a chance to jump in, play a game before they shut it down. I kind of forgot about it, but yeah, it's one of those things. So, but Battlefield 3 is incredible. I love that game. And then we had Battlefield 4, which was more of a kind of around the time the Xbox One came out. I hadn't jumped to the Xbox One yet, so I did play Battlefield 4 on the 360 first. So I would say the campaign on this one was slightly better than Battlefield 3. But of course they added more DLC like they always do, and lots of weapons and unlocks, and yeah, so it's still a great time though. But yeah, once again, not available to play, I believe, but I think you can still play it on the Xbox One though, at least. So if you really wanted that experience, you could do that. And then Battlefield Hardline, I haven't played this one yet, but I hopefully will sometime soon. But multiplayer, I'm not 100% sure if this is up still, but you can also play this one on Xbox One, of course. But different type of Battlefield, and it was Visceral's last game, I believe. And moving on to the next series, this needs no introduction, but I have to include it here because I have special memories with these games, and that is BioShock. And funny story about this, I actually had a friend who wanted me to play this one back when it came out. I think it was around 2007, and he was raving about the same thing as Elder Scrolls at the time, Oblivion, and he's like, you got to play this game, BioShock, it is awesome and all that stuff. But I remember looking at it and I wasn't that into it, and I think that first impression I had of it was less than favorable. So I actually later on, I didn't pick it up until, I don't know, a couple of years into having a 360. But I mean, this is, again, a must-play. Once again, same thing as some of the Assassin's Creed games. There's not a whole lot I can say about this game that hasn't been said already. But absolute must-play, and unfortunately, I knew the twist in the story here. It's like I always do. Like, I just started playing Last of Us, and it's like as soon as I start playing, it is like some spoiler happens, and I'm like, oh, cool. But yeah, absolutely worth playing this one, and start here too. I would say start here. Unlike me, who started with this one, BioShock 2. But that was, again, like I said in the beginning, it's because there were games that came out around the time where I got my 360, and this one came out in 2010. and Bioshock 1 was like 2007. But this one, I love this one too. Like, I think this one is doesn't get as much credit as it deserves, I think, just because it was a little bit different. But I had a ton of fun playing as a Big Daddy in this one, and I hate to say it, I kind of like the multiplayer in this one too. Like, I thought it was kind of interesting. So I did play that as much as I could. It was pretty populated, I would say, around the time. And yeah, I know it's not going to be many people's favorite, especially hardcore fans of the first one are going to think this one is shouldn't be part of the series almost. But yeah, worth playing for sure. I still have played Bioshock 2 far more than Bioshock 1 due to all the stacks and all the different imports and region variants for this game. So yeah, definitely worth it. And I love the artwork on this one too. I mean, they both look amazing, but this one has like a special shine to it. So yeah, Bioshock 2 is great. I love it. And then lastly, we had Bioshock Infinite, which is also fantastic. Very different, of course, than the first two. This one takes place in the sky, in the clouds, and not in Rapture, but this is Columbia. And yeah, I mean, I was blown away by this game too. Of course, there's going to be a twist in this one too, but some DLC stuff in there, the Clash in the Clouds, that a lot of people have problems completing and stuff. But yeah, I think this was a good challenge, just like the other games were. Like, this absolutely belongs in the trilogy, and yeah, great game. So definitely worth playing. Okay, so next series here. And we have Borderlands, and this is the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC. I kind of just tried to display the Game of the Year editions and stuff if they have the DLC, rather than just taking all of the standard editions as well. So Borderlands, this was not the first one I played in the series. I played this one much later, but I had a ton of fun actually jumping into random co-op games online, and I probably played this with multiple different friends at the time as well. But it was, yeah, play with different characters and level them up and get to, what was the highest level, 69 or 72 or whatever with the DLC. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good co-op game. I think, you know, it's pretty repetitive, all the side missions, all the achievements in this game, but it is pretty easy, though. You just have to grind it out and, you know, just go with the flow in this game. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's a good co-op game, and I had a lot of fun with this, for sure. And then Borderlands 2, of course. This was my first Borderlands, and it's still my favorite Borderlands. I still think this is a really fun game to play. And same as the first one, I played this with so many random people, so many friends. Maxed out all the characters, I feel, and or at least most of them. Maybe not all of them, but yeah, really fun game. Lots of replayability in this one, and I at least thought it was fun at the time. Funny at the time. Handsome Jack is hilarious. So, and then probably my least favorite Borderlands. This is Borderlands the pre-sequel. Again, it's one of those things that people defend this game. I don't know why, but yeah, I just couldn't get into this one. This one was not that enjoyable, and Scarole agrees with me. We played this one in co-op, and this is also like, it put her on the brink of quitting Borderlands, and we'll see if she'll hang up her boots with the Borderlands series after Borderlands 3. So yeah, I do try to complete all these Borderlands games too, and that's probably why some of them go a little bit sideways in the end in terms of rating. And this is Bulletstorm. I thought this one was really fun when I bought it. And it was just kind of a random purchase I made at GameStop. I saw it in store, and I think there was like a Gears of War 3 beta as part of it or something. And the controls and the gameplay here is definitely very unique and very different for any other game I played at the time. And, you know, another game that maybe the writing aged like milk in this one too. I mean, I recently played the Games for Windows Live version of this one, and yeah, it's this game is pretty inappropriate. Yeah, like some of the stuff they say in here, it's yeah, out of control. So, but yeah, if you can ignore that, just play the game, and it's really fun. So the next one here, I'm going to try to go through pretty quickly as well, because again, everyone knows about these games. I don't have to talk this one to death. The first one I played, though, Call of Duty 2, launch title for the 360, really fun. I still think this one is, considering I played the first one on PC and I haven't played it since then, so what is that, like 20 plus years since I played that one. But Call of Duty 2 I replayed at least on my own gamer tag, and got all the achievements. So like at least this one is relatively easy, even on veteran. But yeah, great game. I really love this one. Call of Duty 2 is great. And then Call of Duty 3, not so great. I think this was Treyarch, I think, and the first one was Infinity Ward. So yeah, Call of Duty 3 is not as great, and I still have yet to complete it on veteran. I got to go back to that one. But yes, checkpoints are crap in this one, and yeah, I don't know if it's as grenade happy as World at War, but yeah, not as good. And I didn't like this one as much. But you know, it's an okay Call of Duty game, and one of the older ones, of course. So one that is really good is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. So this was obviously the first of the modern ones I had played. I think it must have been, because I mean I tried to play them in order. But yeah, this one is still my favorite. I think seriously, I think this one is still good, and they remastered this one, and that one is fantastic as well. So yeah, this one is great, and I'm more of a Modern Warfare fan over Black Ops, really. So, and this is Call of Duty World at War. I think I played this one second after Call of Duty 2, and this one's also great, but it's probably one of the hardest veteran campaigns, I would say, and thanks to the grenades, especially towards the end of the game. Yeah, it's a little bit crazy, but yeah, it's a great game though. Like, just if you play it without all of that nonsense, then yeah, this game is really good. And then Modern Warfare 2, a lot of people's favorite, I think, especially since there was a lot of hype around this one, a lot of build up to all the multiplayer and the campaign and all the celebrities and stuff. So yeah, this one is still great though. I still really like Modern Warfare 2 as well. And then the Black Ops, and I didn't play Black Ops until much later, and it's not that I was avoiding it, but I just was more into the Modern Warfare storyline, so I didn't really care too much about it. But I mean, the Black Ops storyline is fantastic as well. I really like it, at least up until 1 and 2 are really good. I don't know about 3, I haven't played it yet, but I heard it's slightly different, so I don't know if it has any relation to the other two, but I'm sure it does. But that's next on my list. But Black Ops 1 is great, and you know, you can argue that the zombies are the most fun game mode, or if you like multiplayer, but you know, I prefer the campaign, but I played a ton of zombies in this one as well. But I still think I like the simplicity of World at War zombies. That's kind of the first zombie mode that I played. I just like the simplicity, not all these like complicated Easter eggs and whatever, you know. It's too much bullshit. And here's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. This one was also good, but I don't remember this one as much as 1 and 2 for some reason. But I think it wraps up the story. Someone dies probably, and yeah, that's the best I can do on this one, because I remember liking the gameplay and everything, but I really don't remember the story in this one for some reason. But you know, the Modern Warfare trilogy is still good though to play, if you can remember the story on the last one, I guess. And then Black Ops 2. This one I played not that long ago, I feel. Good campaign on this one too, and zombies. This one has some really memorable maps. It has the Alcatraz one and the Moon one, I think. And, oh wait, that was maybe the first one. Yeah, so whatever. There's a lot of zombie maps on these, and but it's a good game though, good campaign. And then we're moving on to Call of Duty Ghosts. I played this one on Xbox One first, I think. So I got all the achievements on the Xbox One, and I went back to the 360, got all the achievements on that one. I liked the Extinction game mode, actually. That was kind of in place of the zombies, and a little bit sad they never brought it back. But I know a lot of people prefer the zombies, and that's probably why they never brought it back. So, but I think the campaign here is fine too. I think this was a good game overall, and I enjoyed playing through this a few times. You know, pretty easy on veteran too, I would say. So, and then here's Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I like this one as well. Wall running, jetpacks, all that stuff, exosuits, and but you know, I thought it was pretty good. Had Kevin Spacey in it at a time, so yeah, why not? And then lastly, for the CODs, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and this was just multiplayer and zombies, as it says on the front here. No campaign. It's a little bit weird, you know, you think about an old console, and then I would almost think they would do the opposite of just doing the campaign and no multiplayer and just leaving that to the Xbox One. But I guess they still had a lot of kids playing Call of Duty on the 360, so they're like, let's just give them what they want. They don't play the campaign anyway, so let's just give them zombies and multiplayer. So maybe it was a good move. Who knows? We have one of my kind of outsider favorites. One was a launch title, and that's Condemned: Criminal Origins. I love this one. I played this one on PC, and I couldn't get this one to run properly. It wouldn't save my game, and then I realized it probably was due to it being the pirated copy that I had at the time. So yeah, it probably wasn't entirely complete. So that's when I'm like, I gave up on that a long time ago, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get this on the 360. Maybe not a hidden gem at this point, you know, but it's kind of underrated, you know. I think this one has really tense gameplay, really good atmosphere. And like I said, it's a launch title and very early title. And you can play it on Series X, Xbox One now, and supposedly it looks even better than it did on the 360. So, yeah, fantastic game. I love this one. And especially if you're into the whole serial killer, you know, documentaries or videos and, you know, movies and that kind of stuff, then it's great. And then Condemned 2 Bloodshot. This one is also good. It's a little bit different, I would say, more action-packed. The first one is more survival horror, I would say. This one is more or less action horror. And it had multiplayer as well, which I did play. It's kind of an interesting mode, but definitely shouldn't be missed as well. This one also came out on PS3, though, unlike the first one. But definitely good memories with this one. One achievement requires you to kill like 9 other serial killers, which means they killed 1,000 other players online. So yeah, it was quite like a weird viral achievement you had to get in this one. So, but yeah, I definitely recommend the Condemned games. They're really good. Love these games. There aren't any games like that, I feel, anymore. So definitely cherish those while we can. And then we have a couple of exclusives here that a lot of people like. I don't know how I feel about Crackdown still. Like, I think I can understand that people like it because it is a pretty decent co-op game. I didn't play this one in co-op. I had Scarole help me with some achievements and stuff, but overall I didn't really play it in co-op, which might be my fault. But I thought this was a pretty mediocre game, honestly. I know that people loved them at the time, but it's kind of like a really good 360 exclusive, but I guess I never saw it. I would rather play Prototype or, you know, Saints Row or something like that instead, I guess. But Crackdown for me, maybe I played it too late, so I just wasn't that impressed with it. And yeah, for me, it was pretty mid. But I'm sure if you have someone who likes Crackdown, like I played in the next game here, which I did enjoy a little bit more than the first one, Crackdown 2. I know that's probably going to be controversial because most people like the first one over this one, but I thought the controls were way better in this one, and I thought the co-op was more fun as well. I think you could have up to 4 maybe in this one. And I had a friend who loves Crackdown, and he's like, I'll help you out with stuff, and the online orbs and all that kind of stuff. So it does help to have someone who likes the game, of course, when maybe you don't like it as much. You know, as far as exclusives go, it's gotten to the point where I haven't even played Crackdown 3, so that should kind of tell you how I feel about these games. But, you know, definitely if you have people to play with, try these out, you know, see for yourself if you like them. But I wasn't too impressed with Crackdown myself. But a couple of games here I was impressed with when I played them at least, and I missed out on the first one on PC because my computer was not good enough to run it. And that's Crysis 2, and I got this one. This was 2011, I believe. So yeah, this would be one of the, you know, maybe not the first purchase I made after I got my console, but it was in the first few batches at least. And yeah, I love Crysis 2. Crysis 2 is amazing, and I even legitimately played the multiplayer as well quite a bit. I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit different, cloaking and different abilities that you can use, and so yeah, I thought this one was very interesting in multiplayer. And but overall, like, the campaign was great, and that's without me playing Crysis 1, which later on I did play, and this one is definitely better than Crysis 1 in my opinion. So Crysis 1 is very weird on the stealth for some reason. They're very hyper alert, and Yeah, I still think this one is better though, but yeah, definitely play Crysis 2. They did remaster all the Crysis games on newer consoles, and I would say that the online is shut down on this one here, but I can't confirm that because I haven't played it in a long time. But I thought, again, since it's EA, it's more likely that it was shut down than they didn't shut it down. So. And then we also had Crysis 3, which I think also was really good. Maybe not as good as Crysis 2, but I also played this multiplayer quite a bit. And yeah, I think the Crysis games are kind of underrated. You know, I don't know how people feel about them these days. I was getting excited for Crysis 4, but then I think they canceled it. So, but yeah, Crytek makes some good games in my opinion, and good graphics. Always good graphics with anything they make, because they make their own engine and stuff. So, but yeah, Crysis 3 is also a really good game. So I'm looking forward to playing these again for another set of achievements on in the remastered versions. Dead Island, or as most people know it, Dead Island. And this is the Game of the Year edition that includes a bunch of DLC, and it has the arena style DLC with more achievements, which is an interesting game mode. You know, I played that with friends. It's definitely something else. And you definitely want to mess up on the last wave on some kind of bloating zombie that'll explode. And, you know, so, but overall, as a game, Dead Island is a fun co-op game, but I don't know if it is a good game, though. That's why I'm struggling with a little bit, because I just can't make up my mind. And I think it's just because it's co-op, because you had that whole Borderlands-esque type of thing. You know, I think everyone was more receptive to it, and they did all the right things to make it work. But I mean, the voice acting is atrocious in this one, and it probably gets worse throughout the series. But it is a fun game though. Like, it's a fun zombie slasher shooter, you know, and you know. But if you do the achievements in these ones, I mean, it gets kind of repetitive. But yeah, it's a fun co-op game. And then we had Dead Island Riptide. So this is, I feel like this was more or less like a DLC, honestly. It seemed kind of rushed. It wasn't fully fleshed out. You could transfer your character and all your progress from the first one. So again, it kind of did feel like a DLC in my opinion. So you could play this one in co-op as well, which always makes it better, of course. But I don't know. It's kind of like a similar thing here with Riptide. I don't think it was any better or worse, but it probably was slightly worse than the first one, but still an okay co-op experience in my opinion. So, but you know, it's memorable. Like, that's why I want to highlight them, because it might not always be the best games, but because I played them with friends, because the grind was real, because the achievements were weird. You know, that's why Dead Island always stands out to me. And especially I think you have to do something weird. I didn't even mention that in the first game. You have to like play with like 10 different people online for 15 minutes or something, you know, and then you obviously remember stuff like that, you know, bizarre things that you probably wouldn't even consider if you didn't do those things. And then you had Escape Dead Island. This was like kind of more of a third person game rather than a first person game, made by a completely different company. And this can be fun if you're into this kind of game. You know, if you want more of the Dead Island kind of stuff. I had an okay time with this one. I don't think it was fantastic. I don't think it was terrible. It was just kind of in the middle somewhere. And, you know, but if you, again, like the Dead Island games, you know, give this one a try. I don't think a whole lot of people talk about this one. And it is backwards compatible as well. So, you know, you might as well give it a try if you see it on sale, or if you find this one for cheap, you know. So, because chances are you probably have played the other Dead Island games, but you haven't played this one. But a series that you probably have played, or at least heard of, is Dead Rising. And yeah, a lot of people's early 360 favorite, I think. Like, if you played this one at the time, it's, yeah, a lot of nostalgia with this one, right? I didn't, so I don't have a lot of nostalgia with this one. I played the second one first, but I've had a very hard time getting into this one after playing Dead Rising 2 first. But I still am very committed to playing this one someday. It's always in my stack of games to play next on the 360, and then it just kind of gets shuffled down in the pecking order. And but yeah, it's not that I dislike it, but it's just the controls here aren't as smooth and refined as they were in the later ones. But I do want to go back to it. I have started the game, so. And here's Dead Rising 2, which I did have a good time with. I don't know if this is the best or my favorite Dead Rising game. I kind of have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with Dead Rising because I like the concept, I like the characters, I like the world. There's just some gameplay mechanics that I'm not loving. So yeah, I'm not always a fan of every aspect of Dead Rising like a lot of people are. They just absolutely adore Dead Rising, it seems like. But this one, at least I had a good time with. I played co-op with a friend. He was Dead Rising veteran, apparently, so he knew exactly what to do. And maybe that's why I didn't like it, because he was kind of rushing through everything. And I go like, what's the rush? You know, like, why can't we just go over here and, you know, do some stuff? And he's like, there's no time. You have a time limit. And I was like, he was stressed out. I wasn't that stressed out because I had no idea what I was doing. But it was still fun in the end to play co-op. It also had some kind of weird multiplayer mode, which was kind of funny and pretty fun as well. But as a game, after we did the co-op, and then I went back and literally grinding out the rest of the achievements and everything and playing it solo, I did have a pretty good time with this game. You know, it's very memorable, the type of stuff you do and the type of costumes, type of weapons you make and stuff. So there's a lot of redeemable qualities in Dead Rising, I would say, that I like. But yeah, I am still kind of undecided if it's more or less like I don't hate it, I don't love it. It's just kind of like I like playing them, but you're never going to hear me talk about how much like, oh my god, this changed my life kind of thing, you know. So but Dead Rising 2 off the record, I haven't played this one yet. I'm trying to get Scarole to play this one with me in co-op, which I think is just Frank West in a Dead Rising 2 setting. So I'm sure they've added a separate story and everything to it, but you know, it looks the same as Dead Rising 2 to me. Any gameplay I've watched, it looks exactly the same. So yeah, we'll see. I'll probably play this one if I can convince her to play it, but that's going to be very unlikely probably. So, all right. And next, this is peak 360 for me. This is like the best trilogy. You know, at least the first two. You know, third one we can talk about, but of course, let's talk about Dead Space. Because I'm the king of sequels, I guess, of starting there or something. But I played this one much later on. And Dead Space is by far one of my favorite series. It's going to sound very cliche and very typical. But yeah, Dead Space is amazing. And I don't hear a lot of people saying Dead Space sucks. So yeah, Dead Space is great. I think I like it better than Resident Evil. I like Dead Space better than Resident Evil, and that's gonna be unpopular, just me saying that. But Dead Space 1 is great, and play the remake too. Just like I'm telling you, the remake is so good. Like I would venture to say like it's probably better than the original, but you know, I think they're both great. So play them both. More achievements and more fun. And then the absolute best game, this is my top 3 games on this console by far. So fun. Dead Space 2 is, I mean, just thinking about it, I just want to play it. Like, this is one of those games that I played the German version too. I'm still working on the hardcore achievement there. And I mean, this game blew me away, literally blew me away when I played it. I didn't know games could be this good, especially games in this genre. And again, I'm going back to Resident Evil. I'm like, I think this is better than any Resident Evil game I played. I'll get to it, of course, but like this has everything, I feel, you know, just unbelievable controls, great atmosphere, even the jump scares, they're not cheesy. They're like well made, and just music, ambiance, like it's just everything. Characters, pacing, like yeah, this is unbelievable game, and you should play this one right now. Just well, watch the video and then you can go play it afterwards. But yeah, this one is amazing. Then we had Dead Space 3. This one, I don't mean to laugh because it's a bad game or anything. I think this is a pretty good game, but following up from Dead Space 2, this is where EA kind of went a little bit ahead of themselves with their microtransactions, with their forcing people to buy a copy just to play co-op, and it's just it's too much surround in this game, I think, that made this a less than desirable end to the trilogy. Also, the story wasn't that great, because there's a lot of things in this game I thought that was really great. You know, the weapon crafting I really liked, actually. They kind of screwed up, if I remember correctly, the classic mode, because it made the crafted weapons so overpowered. And then when you got to like the classic mode, which was supposed to be like Dead Space 1 and 2, like the plasma cutter barely even like did any damage and stuff. I mean, it was like the worst nerfing of weapons I've ever seen. So it wasn't as enjoyable to play every single playthrough, which this game definitely forces you to play, like I would say 4 or 5 times or something. And it is a very long game, actually. You have these aliens sections as well, and so yeah, it is a much longer game than it had to be. And then there's certain things that are locked behind co-op that is going to give you more of the story. So if you don't play it in co-op, you might not experience it fully the way that they wanted you to experience it. So yeah, really bad decisions on this game, I would say. But enough of that. It's still a good game, and it definitely belongs in the trilogy as one of the best trilogies I played, at least. So yeah, give these games a try if you haven't. They are amazing. Okay, so here's more of a standalone title, at least on the console. I've talked about this one briefly before in a different video, but yeah, Deus Ex Human Revolution. This one surprised me. This one is also probably my top 5 on this console. A really great game. Kind of action RPG, stealth shooter, and yeah, really fun dialogue, and not fun dialogue, but you know, it's very well written, intrigue, twists, and turns, and yeah, great game. I would highly recommend that you play this one. I haven't played the newest one yet that came out 9 years ago, so that's how much I loved this one, and I completely forgot about Deus Ex after that. But that's what happens when they make one game every 10 years, I guess. Then you just kind of forget about it. But Deus Ex Human Revolution is fantastic. And then next one is a game that I have talked about a lot. So if you watch the other like remastered videos, you know, DLC on disc, all that stuff, I've talked about Dishonored. It's absolutely, this is in my top 3. It might be my favorite, at least in top 3, like I said. Great game, and I picked this one up, actually, not this Game of the Year edition, but I picked this one up kind of at random at a Black Friday. It must have been in 2012, so it was the same year this game came out. And I couldn't believe that it was so cheap already. I was kind of new to the whole buying cheap games on Black Friday. And I picked this one up, and I actually started around Christmas time that year, or around New Year. And I remember it's like I couldn't stop playing this game. I just had to continue. I had to know what happened next. And at the time, I wasn't really aware that this had branching paths and different play styles and everything. And it wasn't until, you know, I was doing the achievements for it, and I realized that, oh, you can actually dispose of this assassin or this target in a separate way than what I did, and then I would go back and replay it, and there was like weird achievements for everything. And I was very intrigued by this game from the start, and then doing the achievements made this game even better, because then you get to actually experience the game for what it's intended to be experienced. And yeah, I can't recommend this game enough, but it's like, just give it a try. Give it another try. Like, just try to play it like maybe one play style at a time, instead of trying to go on a murder spree and then suddenly you're stealthy and then it doesn't work out and then you freak out. Like, just try to like do one play style and see what happens, you know? Like, it's definitely worth keeping at it, and you'll be rewarded in the end. This one is an unbelievable game. Next shelf here, and we're cracking on. We're probably making good time here, or we probably are not, because I'm talking a lot about these games, but that's okay, because 360 is awesome. All right, we have a couple of exclusives here, kind of a trilogy, but you know, we'll start with the remake, I guess, and that's Fable Anniversary. So I didn't actually play Fable on OG Xbox. I did play this one, though. I haven't finished it yet. But yeah, this was the weird game where they tried the Xbox Smart Glass app on your phone. So if you know anything about that, you know there was an achievement attached to it. And I did grab that one before they shut off the app. And I think I still have an old phone that has the Smart Glass app on it. So it doesn't work though, of course, but yeah, it's still a good memory, but it was a terrible app. I don't know why they try to do that, but you had to like sign into it and do something. I can't remember what the purpose of it was, but just kind of linking your phone with the game, and like I don't even think you could do anything with it. But anyway, this is Fable Anniversary, so just a remastered version of the OG Xbox. I think they added some extra stuff in here. I'm not 100% sure what it was, but maybe they refined the menus a little bit, updated the graphics, of course. But I mean, I'm enjoying this so far, though. Like I'm probably about halfway through with the game, but I keep getting sidetracked. I don't know why, but yeah, I'll have to get back to this one soon, especially now that I've grabbed that Smart Glass achievement. And of course, we had everyone's favorite Fable, Fable 2. And this wasn't my first Fable, actually. And yeah, I can understand why this was people's favorite, and, you know, really fun in co-op as well. And it wasn't my favorite Fable, though, which, yeah, again, I haven't heard anyone say that Fable 2 isn't their favorite Fable, but maybe Fable 1. Yeah, I got through this one, but maybe it's because people said that this was like the absolute best Fable, and maybe I just didn't like it as much, you know. So for no particular reason, but I don't know if I just didn't like the quests, and I didn't like all of that stuff as much. But I know that Fable games are very unique, of course, with the way they do the good and the bad, and you can choose. And so maybe the achievements ruined it a little bit for me here. Maybe I should have just played it normally without worrying about the different endings, because these games have a lot of missables, and again, that's probably my fault. But yeah, it wasn't my favorite Fable, but it was still a good game, though. I still enjoyed it and played through it in co-op, like I said, and it was a great time. But I, oddly enough, played Fable 3 first. It was like a Games with Gold, I think. And I just decided to give this one a go. And I felt that even if the map, I think, was the biggest issue here, the map and the quest list was a little bit confusing, especially having to go back to the sanctuary or whatever and, you know, figure things out from there. But I actually recently played through this on Games from Windows Live, and I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I think this one is more underrated than Fable 2 is overrated, really. So I think... yeah, I think this one is overlooked a little bit because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the DLC. I enjoyed it in co-op, of course. And they have a lot of Xbox Live achievements in here. So definitely, if you're thinking about playing these games now, if you haven't yet, you know, consider knocking out those Xbox Live ones. And, you know, I'm not saying that Xbox is going to shut down Xbox Live, of course. But, you know, any kind of online services and stuff are very tricky. It's very tricky to know what's going to happen to them. So... but yeah, at least I enjoyed this game, and it was my first, so, you know, I worked my way backwards. I played 3, 2, and then 1, so there you go. So that's, nobody said you have to be traditional when it comes to your gaming. Okay, and then next one here, this was kind of one of those series that I felt like I had to get into, and unlike the other one that I hadn't covered in this video, I probably won't because I haven't played many of them. But I am going to talk about Fallout 3, and this is the Game of the Year edition, which includes all of the DLC. They had a couple of weird standalone physical releases for these. I think they did a couple of them on one disc, or like one physical release, and then they did the rest of them on a separate one, and they did a Game of the Year edition here. So... definitely the way to go to get the Game of the Year, because the DLC is also great in this one, I feel. So, you know, very different. I think there's one that I think is the Mothership Zeta, that is the out of space one, or it's like a weird abduction one or something. So, I could be misremembering that because it's a long time since I played Fallout 3, and I only played through it one time. But I love this game. I think it's still my favorite Fallout. I know a lot of people like the next one I'm gonna talk about here, but I was surprised by this one. Yeah, like I didn't expect to like Fallout 3, and I don't even know if this was recommended to me. I'm trying to see if I just like kind of picked it up because people recommended it, you know, on TV, or like on TV, on cable TV, on YouTube or whatever. But then, yeah, I just decided to play it, and I played it for, I would say I got it between 80 and 100 hours. I got all the achievements in this game, which is pretty long for me. Like, I don't really like to spend that much time on RPGs, but I had a friend at the time who loves Bethesda games, and he was like, oh, you only spent 80 hours? I spent 500 hours. As if I'm supposed to be impressed with someone spending 500 hours on a game. So I was like, okay, I got all the achievements in 80 hours, so I'm good with that. I enjoy the game, and so let's not drag it out anymore. But Fallout 3 is amazing, though. I really love this game, and I really want to replay it, honestly. I know a lot of people replay these Bethesda games like 1,000 times, and different characters and different things they do, different missions, so... And here's Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition, and this also comes with all the DLC. I think this is the only edition that had the DLC. I don't think they did the separate releases like they did on Fallout 3. Yeah, this one was also good. I know a lot of people say that this is the best Fallout, but I still think Fallout 3 is better. But this one is great too. I wonder, if I remember correctly, I wonder if some of these DLCs here, they were not as good. I know there's one that really sucked. I can't remember. I would say it's probably Dead Money, if I'm to guess here. There's one you start with like nothing, or like it's terrible. So there's that. But the game itself, I really like Fallout New Vegas as well. So yeah, definitely worth playing and getting both of these Game of the Year editions of both these games for sure. And the next one here is very mainstream series, and I mean, it wasn't so much at the time, not until at least they got a couple of games into it. But there's, of course, Far Cry Instinct's Predator. And I don't know if I wanted to talk about this one because it's part of the series, but I actually haven't played this one yet. So this has a very grindy multiplayer, and it's on my list to play soon, but I don't know. It just doesn't entice me to play some of the older Far Cry because I played a little bit of Far Cry Classic, and yeah, it feels kind of dated at this point, but you know, that could just be me. But says there's 2 games in 1 here, so yeah, lucky us, we get 2 games in 1 on this one. But I'll play it at some point. But I hear that, you know, it can be pretty tough at times, I guess. And then we had Far Cry 2. And this was one of the early games that I bought. So I would go to GameStop and I bought like a handful of games, and then this was one of them. Later on, I actually got this slip cover. I didn't get it from GameStop, of course, but yeah, it's one of those slip covers that I was like, okay, you know, I'll just grab this one. But yeah, oh boy, I can't say a lot of good things about this game. It took me, I think, 10 years to complete this game, like 100% complete. It has the worst multiplayer grind. It's incredibly glitchy. Nobody should like having guns that jam and break on you every 5 seconds. Dry grass that catches fire just looking at it. Like, I mean, I feel like it's how many times I've just lost a life and had to start from the nearest safe house or whatever because just stuff is on fire all the time. The cars suck. You go through these outposts. They kept respawning enemies everywhere. They chase you all over the place. And it's like, yeah, and like I said, going for achievements in this one took me 10 years. And not to mention that it's like point of no return in 3 different areas. And then you can't chapter select. So if you missed like a diamond or a mission, then yeah, you have to start the game all over again. So achievement-wise, this is a nightmare. But even without achievements, I don't think this was a very enjoyable game. Like, this was a bad Far Cry game. But thankfully, we had some improvement here after they finally realized that Far Cry 2 sucks. And then here came Far Cry 3, which everyone loves this game, including me. I think this was a step in the right direction. So, I mean, it has one of the best villains here, I think, in video game history. Very memorable, and, you know, you could argue that some of the main characters aren't as memorable in a sense, but you only need a good villain, right, to make a good game here. It doesn't really matter who your main protagonist is. If it's a spoiled frat boy or whatever, you know, then, you know, I still think that this was a really fun open world game, and it was very accessible, I feel. I don't think it was too long. And yeah, I think this was a good little reboot, really, for Far Cry after Far Cry 2. So, because as we know, the original Far Cry was not by Ubisoft, it was by Crytek. So, yeah, and then they took over the IP once Crytek didn't make games, I guess, for them. So, But yeah, Far Cry 3 is good, of course. And then Far Cry 4, which I also enjoyed. I played this one on Xbox One first, I think. And then I went back to this one. And I think this one has some issues right now, though. I think you can play it offline. You have to install most of the game on here, too, on your hard drive. So... but there's some issues. When I remember loading this up not long ago, just to check that it was still working. And yeah, I think because of some Ubisoft services that are required to connect, but you're not actually needing that service to play the game. I think you can boot it up like offline, and then you can go online later and stuff. But overall, this is a great villain too. I think I have a statue of him here somewhere from the collector's edition, but yeah, I think this is also worth playing through. But you were starting at this point to see that they were reusing the formula for this, because they're like, hey, it's working, and then let's make every game like this. So, but it's still, you know, more than passable as a Far Cry game. So I enjoyed the Far Cry 4 as well. Let's move on to a pretty famous horror series, I would say, and a lot of people swear by this series. They love it. I really like the series as well. And that is Fear. And this is the first Fear game, which is one heck of a completion, I tell you. Like, this one is no joke. I completed this one a couple of years ago, and there's a lot of weird stuff in here, of like finishing the game, firing less than 500 bullets, no dying, that kind of stuff. So don't pick up any booster packs, almost said, some boost injectors and stuff. Yeah, but overall, I mean, this is a very good horror game, very good horror shooter, I would say, and had that slow-mo mechanics, and very early 360 game, of course. I don't remember if this one came out on PS3. It probably did, but yeah, people seem to talk about this one more on the 360 for some reason. But you know, anyway, like, this was an early one that got a lot of attention for being a little bit different, not just a shooter, but it had that horror element with this creepy girl right here. And yeah, I did like it, but I didn't love this game because of, yes, there's a lot of BS achievements in this one, unfortunately. But as a game, as one playthrough at least, yeah, this is a very good horror shooter. And then we had kind of like a standalone, I don't know if you can consider this DLC. I'm currently working my way through this one. I've played at least one of the campaigns. But yeah, it's more of the same, really. This one might actually be harder than the first one to complete. And I don't know if I should say platinum. Like, when I say complete, I mean like 100% achievements. Because obviously Xbox doesn't have platinum, but it might be easier to say if we did have platinums. But yeah, this one is more the same, like I said. And yeah, might be a little bit harder. But yeah, I'll get back to this one again soon. But very similar. And here is Fear 2, another one just like Far Cry 2, one of the longest multiplayer grinds to complete. And same thing, I think after like 10 years or so, I went back and finally completed this one. I did enjoy the story, the campaign in this one. And but yeah, the multiplayer stuff is less than fun, I would say. You'll need a lot of assistance at 0.5, so yeah, if you know what I mean. And it's yeah, it's a good game though. I think this is a good game. I wouldn't say it's very different from the first ones, but it is a little bit different. I wonder if this was I don't know if they were all Monolith games, but I know there was like some Day One Studios in there, which I don't know if that's the same subdivision or branch of those ones, but yeah, Fear 2 is also worth playing, and yeah, really good horror shooter, of course. And then Fear 3, which I think is a little bit underrated. I know this one was a little bit different. You play as the two brothers, and then you can play co-op in this one too, but this has become kind of more the unusual, more uncommon game. I know that you can find this at GameStop and stuff. You know, it's not like this is impossible to find, but I think it was a little bit overlooked, and a lot of people will probably disagree with that statement and say that this is the worst Fear game, but I had fun with this one. So I thought, I don't think it had multiplayer in this one like the other two games had. I forgot to say, like, the multiplayer grind in the first one too is pretty big, yeah. But this one I think had maybe co-op horde mode or something, yeah. So it wasn't quite multiplayer that way, but But yeah, still worth playing. All of these games I think are worth playing. I like the Fear games a lot. And now we're finally at one of the bigger exclusive series on the 360, and needs no introduction really. And this is Gears of War. Here is the original, at least, so which everyone loves this one. I mean, still think it's one of my all-time favorite co-op shooters that I played. And it also, like I will mention, it also has the right amount of jank to it as well, I will say. Like, it's not a perfect game by any means. There's some weird stuff in there, some glitchiness and stuff, but it's the uniqueness of it too. You know, it's just, you know, it kind of set the standard for the cover shooter. I know it wasn't technically the first cover shooter, but a lot of people try to imitate this game after it came out. Like, that's for sure. I played a lot of third-person shooters that try to be Gears, including Uncharted. And yeah, they didn't quite do it as well as this one. So, and not to mention, multiplayer was incredibly popular. And I wasn't that into the multiplayer. I liked playing it, but yeah, it's definitely hardcore to play the original Gears Warzone, and yeah, it's just yeah, you still find people, if you try to jump in a game now, you'll still find hardcore people playing Gears 1 still on the original hardware. Then here's my favorite Gears, Gears 2, Gears of War 2. We haven't quite gotten to Gears yet, so Gears of War 2. I love this one. This was my first Gears game, so I bought it in that batch of Alan Wake, Halo Reach, and Gears of War 2. And you know, it's kind of like the first game that you play, and especially if it is a good game. So this one had a fantastic co-op campaign. I played a lot of Horde in this one, which was new, of course, to Gears of War 2. And even the multiplayer. Like, it still wasn't like a huge fan of the multiplayer in this one. But if you know doing the multiplayer grind in all the Gears games, you know that it's like it bonds people. You know, it brings people together in a weird way. You get new friendships you never thought you would have. And yeah, same goes for Gears 1, 2, 3, and probably even Judgment. But Gears 2 was unique with the online Horde, you know, co-op multiplayer. You know, it was really fun. And going from wave 1 to wave 50 with your best friends, you know, that's like a very, very unique feeling. And yeah, and you can do it like 30, 40 times over, you know, with all the maps and stuff. So, but yeah, Gears 2 is a classic, just like the first one. And let's ring dance sometime. And then we have Gears of War 3. This one, I've always said that I feel like this one might be the best one. It's not my favorite, but it might be the best Gears game. Like an overall package with the Horde. I played so much Horde in this one. Multiplayer too, actually. I probably played the most multiplayer in this one. And this one also had Beast mode, if I remember correctly, which I also played a ton of it. Because it had like the Onyx medals, so like if you wanted to work on Onyx medals and everything, then yeah, it was definitely a grind. This seriously 3.0 in this one is no joke. I am like halfway through with it, and I don't know if I'm gonna go through with it. It's one of those very, very grindy achievements. Probably one of the most grindy. It's not that difficult, but it's just very grindy. But it's always been on my list, and I don't know. Like the years go by and I still haven't done it, so we'll see. But I've done everything else, and this one is a lot of fun in 4-player co-op as well, and playing arcade mode. This, yeah, this is probably the complete package, honestly. So yeah, Gears 3 is great. Great game. And then we have the redheaded stepchild. Sorry to all the redheads out there. This is Gears of War Judgment. So, yeah, hidden gem? No, it's not. This is not a hidden gem. Is it a good game, though? It's pretty good, I will say. It's very different from the other Gears games, and I played this one when it came out. Thankfully, I got all the achievements, because they did shut down some achievements there. It was like the event, and it was already broken when I played it, so I don't know if People Can Fly knew how to do the events like they did in 3, but yeah, it was an interesting experience to play Gears Judgment because it had more of an arcade-style campaign. It had the declassified missions and different things you had to do, different weapons, which you saw in later Gears games, like Gears 4 and 5. So I wouldn't say this is a bad game, of course, you know, but if this was your first Gears, same thing I've said previously here too with Assassin's Creed and stuff, it seems like there's one generation that played these games first, and it's like instantly their favorite, which makes sense. But obviously they're not going to be the best games in the series, but it's still worth playing as part of the series, I would say. The online component of this is like red versus blue, like Halo. So it's not Locust against the Cogs, you know, it's more like the Halo style with human versus human. So that was different. Controls were different in this one too, and you had Overrun was kind of the horde mode. I don't think they had Horde in this one. That was kind of the Horde mode. So, you know, they mixed up things a little bit, but you know, it's still a fun game. So, you know, give it a try if you haven't played Gears of War Judgment, but it's not a hidden gem. More famous series here, famous games. Grand Theft Auto 4 seems like everyone's favorite. I didn't play this one at launch, but I know this one was incredibly popular, still popular to this day. I'm still working my way through the campaign, sadly enough. I haven't really gotten into this one. I did a bunch of the multiplayer, and I did the some of the co-op missions in this one just for the achievements and stuff, and that was pretty tough. I mean, that is hopefully that's not a sign of things to come for the rest of the game, but I know there's a lot of collectibles and stuff in this. There's like pigeons and whatever, but yeah, from what I played so far, I mean, I like this, but I can't say that I'm like the hardcore GTA 4 fan that everyone else is, because I haven't fully played it, but hopefully someday I can give my little take on it too once I've played through it all the way. But one game I did play all the way, and a lot, was Grand Theft Auto 5. So yeah, weird that I played so much of this game, but not so much of 4, or, you know, I played the previous Grand Theft Auto games as well, but I don't think I played San Andreas fully yet. But Grand Theft Auto 5 was amazing. I loved the story in this one. I loved the multiplayer even. The heists were a lot of fun, although very frustrating, of course, because they're pretty difficult. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5, I spent a lot more time on this game than I expected. And it wasn't just for the achievements. I think it was just because every single one of my friends played this, and I would just jump into different sessions with people, and if I wasn't, then it would work on the story mode, because there's just so much to do in this game. And yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5 on the 360, I have so many good memories of it. And yeah, you know, naturally this would be my favorite Grand Theft Auto game. It might not be the best one, but for me it is. For me, this was like the complete game. You know, at least in terms of Rockstar games, yeah, this one was great. And then lastly on the shelf, and yeah, I realized this is like the longest section here, because there's a lot of good games, a lot of good series, I guess, on this one. And we have Halo 3. Yeah, Halo 3 is amazing. I don't know what else I can say about this that people haven't said. Great co-op game. Yeah, I love Halo 1 and 2, and this one just was even better than those, you know, like, and probably the most popular multiplayer of any of the Halo games, really. So I know Halo 2 multiplayer was very popular too, but this one really perfected the multiplayer, really. And yeah, Halo 3 is awesome. Haven't quite seen a Halo game like this since, really. So I know this is probably most people's favorite game in the Halo series. And we have Halo Wars. I've been on the cusp of playing this one so many times, and I just haven't gotten to it. I think it has some sort of co-op in it, so I was trying to get Scarole to play this one, and we never got around to it. I think they were trying to shut some services down at some point last year, a couple of years ago, and we were thinking about playing it, but for now, it doesn't look like they shut anything down, so you can still play it in co-op and stuff. But yeah, this is more of a RTS style. And then we had Halo 3 ODST. Kind of same thing as the previous one. I don't know why I avoided ODST for so long, but yeah, I haven't played this one. I was surprised. I, for some reason, thought I had, but I have not played ODST yet. So, but definitely one that is very high up on my list, and maybe I can convince Scarole to play this in co-op. Who knows? I don't think she's played any Halo games, actually. So, but Halo is best played in co-op for sure. And then Halo Reach, probably my favorite Halo, but also it was my first Halo after playing Halo 1 and 2. So again, a little bit biased, I guess, in that little bundle that I got from Microsoft Store. But I think the story in here is surprisingly good, and yeah, this one is pretty tough on Legendary as well. I think you have to do this one on Legendary solo, and yeah, that took me a little bit. And back then, I didn't really know about the skips that people use and some of the little tricks you can do with grenades and whatever. But seriously, I wasn't even that good at doing those grenade tricks anyway. So yeah, played this one legitimately all the way through, and yeah, it's great experience to 100% complete this one. I don't think you can anymore. Same thing with Halo 3. I think they shut down all the multiplayer here, but of course you can play multiplayer on newer systems in the Halo Master Chief Collection. So, but that's sad though. This was the OG, so you know this is where the multiplayer was at its peak. You know, it's yeah, good memories of this, and Firefight was so much fun. I loved Firefight in Halo Reach. I miss it. I would have to check out the Master Chief Collection. I'm sure they have Firefight in there too. But yeah, these ones are so good. And then we had Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, and you know, I thought they did a good job with this one. I don't know how this was received when it first came out, but yeah, 343 was obviously new, and this was their first attempt at doing Halo, and so they remastered the first Halo game, and I think I realized after playing this particular edition that you know, Combat Evolved was great at the time, but it, you know, you kind of realized that it was kind of repetitive, and you would go from one end of the level and then you have to go back the level and you go back there and then you go front. Like, it was like a lot of back and forth, I feel, of just you go to one place and you go back and then you kill more enemies and stuff. So I guess it wasn't as varied as I remember. I mean, it's still worth playing, and you get to play with achievements. So, or play for achievements, I should say, not play with the achievements. That's not like go play with your food and go play with your achievements. And here's Halo 4. I also enjoyed Halo 4 as much as I like the older ones that didn't have sprinting. I know Halo Reach had like a power-up that you could do sprinting temporarily, but this was more of a Call of Duty style Halo, because this, again, different company, not Bungie. So I think I also pre-ordered this one. I'm trying to think now, 2012. So I had, yeah, high expectations, and it didn't disappoint me, at least. I thought I had a good story, good gameplay. I played a ton more multiplayer in this one for some reason, and you know, you can argue that I was probably better at this online multiplayer than I was in the older Halo. And, you know, it's just different playstyle, right? You know, you can sprint, you can aim down sights in this one. And in the older Halos, it's no sprinting and no aiming down sights unless you have the sniper rifle. So, you know, it's just different gameplay. But fun in co-op. They had like the like some ops missions as well you could do, which was more objective based, and if you failed you had to start over. And yeah, I had a ton of fun with Halo 4, and I really enjoyed it. And we're not quite done yet on this shelf, which is going to be probably the longest segment here, but that's okay. One of my favorite series, though, I have to say, ever since the very first one. This is Hitman Blood Money first. This was an OG Xbox game and PS2, of course, but it was ported to 360. And I think there's something weird with this version right here. I think you have to play this one with those old cables. I can't remember what they're called, the RGB cables or VGA or something like that, like the three colored cables. So you can't play this one, I think, with HDMI. This is a great game though. Like, this is a fantastic Hitman game, and probably one of the best in my opinion. So many memorable and replayable levels, just like every Hitman game, but this one is a special game to me. I love Hitman Blood Money. It's such a good game. And then we had Hitman Absolution, another great game, very different than Blood Money, of course, and I think I featured this one in another video I did, like the 9 out of 10. Definitely is up there in one of my favorite Hitman games, one of my favorite games on this console as well. And it really set the standard for the Hitman games that we've seen in recent years with Hitman World of Assassination. This was kind of the start of that, or the kind of reboot for Hitman. So yeah, Hitman Absolution is great. And then we had this interesting collection here, which I'm glad I actually get to talk about this one, because this has Hitman 2 Silent Assassin, it has Hitman Contracts, and then it also has Hitman Blood Money. So this is where I played Blood Money, actually. So if you want the HD experience, you can play Blood Money on this one, actually. So it does have Blood Money. So if you want to just have the other one as a collectible, then play Blood Money through here. Hitman Contracts basically is a remake of the first Hitman game, but it has levels of their own too that were new for that game. So, but this is a great combo pack, and yeah, definitely worth getting this in your collection. It took me a long time to find this one, and especially in this condition as well. So get this one while you can. All right, next shelf is not going to be as long as the previous one, I'm pretty sure. But then I miscalculated, I think, the previous one too. So, but anyway, let's get on with it. And the next game is LA Noire. And I picked this one up because I saw a friend of mine bought this. I wasn't going to buy this when it first came out, but I saw him playing it, and he was like, oh, this is the best game ever. And at the time, I'd played a good amount of Rockstar games, but nothing quite like this. I know this was Team Bondi, I think, from Australia that made this one. And, you know, very impressive game at the time. And I think you can see now, and after they remastered it, they had the new one, you can see that some of the facial expressions are a little bit weird. But, you know, for having something like this in a game where you're interrogating people and you have to judge it by their facial expressions, if they're guilty or not, or if they're telling the truth, I mean, it was very fascinating. And not to mention just the game in itself, the game overall, you know, it's a really fun game. And, you know, if you played something like Mafia 2, for instance, you know, then you would love a game like this. And you work on different desks, like you start out in the patrol desk, you end up with homicide and then arson. And I played this one on Xbox One or Series X, you know, the newest one, and I completed that one not too long ago. They added some extra stuff to it, but you can also get the complete edition on 360 that has all the DLC as well. So I don't currently have that one, but definitely recommend that you pick that one up if you can find it. And then another series here that needs no introduction. Everyone's favorite co-op game. Come on, let's do it. Left 4 Dead. Oh man, these games are so good. I don't know which one's my favorite actually, if it was Left 4 Dead 1 or Left 4 Dead 2, but they're very, I mean, I feel like they're very similar. So they came out like a year apart. And the fun fact about this, or I don't know if it's that fun, but this was one of the first games where I actually started doing DLC completions. I kind of avoided DLC for the longest time, but then I had so much fun with this game, and I knew there were more levels and stuff, more stuff to do, so I ended up getting it, and I completed that too. And then I realized, oh, the DLC kind of is part of the completion, you know. So since then, my 100% doesn't really stop until I'm done with the DLC, if it exists. So that's thanks to Left 4 Dead. So thanks a lot, pal. But great game. I mean, I can't think of a lot of other games, honestly, that I've had so much fun in co-op to play Left 4 Dead like this. So yeah, amazing game. And yeah, exclusive to PC and Xbox 360. I guess it's not exclusive if it was on PC as well, but at least on console it was exclusive to the 360. So Left 4 Dead 2, many people argue that this is the ultimate Left 4 Dead experience, and I can agree to that. You know, I still have a fondness for the first one, since that's the first one I played, but you know, this is more or less a complete package, and I think it even has the same DLC. At least one of the DLCs is the same as the first game. So, but you know, Valve, they capitalized on this, and they made you buy the same DLC twice in 2 different games. So yeah, there you go. But great game as well. Great co-op game, zombie shooter, first-person shooter. If you haven't heard of Left 4 Dead, then yes, get this, play it. Scarole's never played these, so we'll see if I'll ever get her to play these with me. So I haven't played them in many years, actually. So I'm sure I will forget a lot of it too. But the random stuff that goes on in this game is crazy. And we had Mass Effect, of course. This was an exclusive, the first game at least, on 360. And a lot of people's favorite. I have had a very hard time getting into this one. And I think it's because I played the newer ones first, and then I went back to this. And the controls are kind of clunky. Yeah, it's not my favorite. And I know the story is going to be great and all that stuff, but I've had a very hard time getting into this one. But I wonder if I just need to jump to the Legendary Edition, and at least the controls would be similar to what the newer ones are, at least from what I've heard, and the graphics will be a little bit better. But yeah, it's a shame. It's kind of like one of those things where you play the newer ones, controls are tight, everything is great, and you go back to an older game, and it just doesn't have that same literal effect on you. So yeah, but you know, we'll see. I started it though, but I haven't gotten very far into it. But this game, though, this is probably in at least my top 10 games on the 360 by far. I played this one first, again, same story as before. This came out around the time where I bought my 360. And this was one of the games that they were on sale, or, you know, the typical GameStop buy it new, but it was still open. It had like the sticker on the side here. I'm like, oh, that's cool. This is what a new game looks like. But obviously it wasn't new, but like, you know, I still bought it because it was a good price. And I completed this one, and yeah, really fantastic game. And I don't typically play games like this, you know, but I was due to this game, yeah, fan of Mass Effect for sure. So yeah, love Mass Effect 2. And then I moved on to Mass Effect 3 years later. And yeah, I have not finished this one yet. So I'm further along in this one though than I am in Mass Effect 1. But yeah, I have not finished it, so I'm just trying to figure out if I should finish Mass Effect 1 first, or if I should go to this one and finish it, because I do enjoy this one. I think this one is a great game, but yeah, I think I'm stuck somewhere in between of like trying to play the story in succession rather than all this disjointed stuff that I'm doing with this series. So I'm not doing it any favors, that's for sure. So but yeah, Mass Effect 3 is also great. So yeah, I just gotta focus and just start somewhere and just finish this series, because it's like, you know, yeah, what else can I do? And then more Rockstar here. Max Payne 3. This one was a game that I bought when it came out. I played it, loved it. Still one of my favorite third-person shooters on 360. And I played a ton of multiplayer too, surprisingly enough. I don't know why, but I was very intrigued, fascinated by the multiplayer in this game. And lots of people played it. And I wasn't too familiar with multiplayer, but it was a weird one, for sure. It was definitely a weird game that way. And not to mention, you have to do like a gazillion playthroughs, and Shadows rushed me and all that good stuff. So yeah, this is like streamers' favorite game to complete, and do Shadows Rush Me, I think, or one of them at least. But yeah, notoriously one of the hardest achievements, of course. But yeah, great game though, great shooter. And then we have a series here that isn't really talked about a whole lot. I think it was a series that was actually more popular than some of the ones I've already mentioned here. And that's Medal of Honor. And this is Medal of Honor Airborne. I think Medal of Honor was more popular than Battlefield at some point. So I don't know if it was more popular than Call of Duty, but they didn't make good games at the end there, as we'll see. But like, I played these ones. I did the multiplayer in this one, and I haven't fully played through the campaign yet, but it's definitely on my list to play soon. I did play Medal of Honor though. Like, I guess this was considered a reboot. I think they've shut down the multiplayer on all of these games, just like, again, we know EA, they mean business. They'll shut it down whenever they can. But this was also a DICE game. I'm not sure if the first one was made by DICE, or at least published by DICE, made by Danger Close. That's what it is, yeah. And a decent enough campaign, but, you know, just didn't quite reach the heights of Call of Duty and Battlefield, really. But I still think it's worth mentioning these games, because I had fun with them. I played through them, and you know, I'm on course to complete all of them. There were only 3 of them on here, and then the last one, the final one, was Medal of Honor Warfighter. I actually got this one from GameStop. What was it, like, you know, many years ago? But like, I bought the copy that was on the shelves. You know, it was just like a used copy, and I gave it to the guy, and he goes into the drawers like they do, and he pulls out a brand new copy of it. And this was probably 5 years after the game came out, and he's like, "Do you want this one?" And he just gave me a brand new copy for like $5 and stuff. So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take it. So why not?" And so I guess it didn't sell that well if they had sealed copies 5 years later. But yeah, thought this one was probably more disappointing than the previous Medal of Honor. So yeah, I didn't like this one as much. This one had more potential to be similar to like a Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4 kind of thing. It came out around the same time, but I did not care that much for this one. But I still, again, like I said, wanted to include this because I do have some memories of it, at least, that it's one of those, you know, famous series, famous shooters that, yeah, kind of lost its way on the 360, and we never saw it again. So, but yeah, if you are into that, though, you know, just playing some shooter campaigns, you know, if you're into the shooters, then you can try them out and see what you think. But you can't play multiplayer, and I know you're very sad hearing that you can't play multiplayer anymore, but that's how it goes. 360's getting old, y'all. All right, and then last couple on the shelf here, and turned out to be eventually here one of my favorite series, and that is Metro 2033. Another game that I just kind of picked up, probably from Amazon. I just kind of was looking through, and it says suggested things based on things I bought, and I knew nothing about this, and yeah, I really liked it. It's not as polished, of course. Don't be surprised if you'll have a little bit of yeah, it's a little bit dated at this point. There's a lot of jank in this one, I would say. A lot of clunky controls. Not fully realized yet, but it was a good start, though. It's kind of similar to something you would say, like the first Assassin's Creed game and that kind of stuff, right? Like, it has to start somewhere. So it was a good effort. But if you like, you know, the Metro lore and the Metro series, you know, then, you know, go back and try this one too, you know, and compare it to the new remastered games. And then we had Metro Last Light. This was the first one I played, and this was the one that was recommended, and then I went back and bought Metro 2033. This one is great. I love this one. Love the story in it, the controls, everything. I mean, this is easily top 10, maybe top 5 on this console. I don't know how many I put in my top 5. I may have put more than 5 games in my top 5 at this point, but maybe I'll do a ranking someday. Who knows? But yeah, Metro Last Light is fantastic. Love this game. On to the next shelf here, and we'll start off with arguably the best package bundle on this console, and that's the orange box, which comes with Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Team Fortress 2, and Portal. It also has Half-Life 2 and Episode 1 on here. So yeah, lots of 2s here. I guess not Portal 2, but this was my first introduction to Portal, at least, and I still love Portal to this day. Both games are amazing puzzle games. And Half-Life 2 I'm working on still. I really like it, but I, for some reason, get sidetracked with that one too. It's difficult to play it if I'm not fully invested or fully focused on it, because I don't want to have, you know, a negative review of it, a negative outcome if I didn't fully invest my time and thoughts into it, because I know that's everyone's favorite game, seemingly, so I want to make sure that I play it correctly, so I don't get sidetracked too much. I did play Team Fortress 2, which I know a lot of people love that multiplayer. Obviously, that's all multiplayer stuff, so, and same thing on this version right here. It has multiplayer achievements, of course, and so I made sure to get those done just in case something happens. But otherwise, yeah, this is a great deal. I don't know what it goes for these days, but even at like $20 to $30, this is a great deal. So definitely pick this one up if you don't have it. And I heard that it plays and runs way better on the 360. I think the port to PS3 wasn't that great. And then perfect segue into the next one here, Portal 2. This is absolutely one of my favorite co-op games of all time. This one, for some reason, I played with a lot of randoms. Yeah, so it's kind of one of those games similar to Borderlands, I would say. You can just jump in and have a good time with the game in co-op, but this one was different because you have to solve puzzles together, and at the time, not everyone had a microphone for some reason, so you would just like message people over chat, over Xbox Live to like try to figure out puzzles and stuff, and it was kind of interesting, but definitely there were times where I'm like, yeah, just can you get on the microphone? Let's talk through the puzzles and everything, but yeah, it was a really fun game, and I'm trying to get Scarole to play this one. She has started the single-player campaign, which is also fantastic. But yeah, this is, again, another must-play, in my opinion. One of the very best games on this console. And here's kind of a weird one, but I wanted to include it because this was an early 360 title, and I think it only came out on the 360 in terms of consoles, at least. I don't think this was on PS3, but that was Prey. And I say it's interesting because it has obviously the old school shooter feel from PC, kind of like Duke Nukem and Doom. You are basically abducted and you go out of space, and you have to kill all these aliens, and you get some pretty interesting weapons along the way and some gravity puzzles, and you have to shoot, enemies upside down. And so I think for its time, it was a pretty good game. I think it's maybe a little bit dated at this point, but definitely worth picking up. This one should be super cheap as well. But yeah, I wanted to include this because it was kind of a 360 exclusive. And then we have one of my favorite series, which is interesting because I talk about Prince of Persia all the time. I don't think a single person has made a comment about Prince of Persia being good. So I don't know. Am I the only one that likes these games? Maybe it's nostalgia for me because I played them when I was a kid. And then I just kind of went through the cycles of the PC, OG Xbox, and then 360. And this was just kind of a different iteration of Prince of Persia, more artistic. This is literally the most hand-holding game that I played, I think. I don't even think you can die in this game. And you have your AI partner that will save you from a certain death if you miss a jump or anything like that. I still think you can die in combat, perhaps. I don't remember now. It's been a while since I played it. But the completion in itself wasn't that much fun because you had to collect all those orbs or... So yeah, not that great in my opinion. I know a lot of people love this one, but I thought this was okay. I think it was an okay game. The combat was incredibly simple and repetitive, like very much just to recycle the same enemies and bosses and stuff. So yeah, this one could have been much better in my opinion, but it's still worth getting, very cheap, and worth playing at least once through. You just have to keep in mind that the so-called true ending is hidden behind DLC, so yeah, that's how it goes. And then here's Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands, which is more of a continuation of the Sands of Time trilogy. I also enjoyed this one. This is a very accessible game, in my opinion. It would absolutely be one of the first games I would get if I started over collecting and playing on the 360. This is a very easy game, and yeah, really fun as well. And easy achievements in this one too. And then we have Rayman Origins. I absolutely adore Rayman. I don't think there's enough Rayman games out there. I think there needs to be another one. We've had 12 years now since the previous Rayman entry. But this is Rayman Origins, which is where I started. I bought this one, a few years after it came out, I think. And yeah, really enjoyed this one. It's obviously a little bit different than the next one I'll talk about. But you could tell that they were onto something here, a continuation of some of the older Rayman games. But I love the music in this game. I love just the little lums that are like floating around and singing and stuff. And just not to mention the choreograph, in a sense, with the music as you're platforming through the levels and stuff. I just, yeah, I love these games. They're awesome. Definitely pick these up. And then you had Rayman Legends, which also came out on Xbox One, of course, and PS4. But this one took it up another couple levels from Rayman Origins, and you can even play Rayman Origins within this game. So there's like a section that you unlock, not all the levels, but most of the levels from Rayman Origins. And it used, obviously, the more refined controls from Rayman Legends in this one. But this one has like amazing like musical levels too, and yeah, what was one of them called? The Granny's World Tour. That was pretty awesome. So yeah, I can't recommend these games enough. If you haven't played Rayman, do it on 360 or do it on Xbox One, whichever one. But yeah, or do them both like I did. So it's pretty tough completion though to get 100% in really both Rayman games, but Rayman Legends is a little bit harder. All right, and this is one of the big boys coming up here, Red Dead Redemption. And again, I'm sure I put about 15 games in my top 5 now, so you do the math on that. So I guess I'll have to figure out what really is my top 5 and my top 3 and top 10, but this has to be in there. I spent so much time on this game, and it's one of those few games that I thought the story obviously is bar none. There's no comparison to this one in my opinion. I still haven't played Red Dead 2, but I'm sure that's going to be equally as good or maybe even better than this one. But it's rare that I've played a game where I enjoy the multiplayer almost as much as the story mode. I spent so much time in multiplayer on this one too, so kind of similar to Grand Theft Auto 5. And I love this game. This is so good. And again, if you haven't played it, absolutely pick this one up. Game of the Year edition is 100% worth it because it comes with Undead Nightmare, which is also one of the best DLCs I've ever played. So yeah, this is... Talked about Orange Box, this is probably closest to it in the complete package in my opinion. So just in terms of the value you get for this game and just how good it is, you know, it's amazing. Red Dead is awesome. And this is Resident Evil 5. This was actually my first Resident Evil game that I played. And I kind of jokingly say that maybe this wasn't the best place to start because it followed up on Resident Evil 4, which is a lot of people's favorite, which thankfully I have played that one at this point. So I finished it like a couple of years ago, finally. But I enjoy Resident Evil 5, and I'm kind of seeing that people are showing this game a little bit more love recently. So maybe they're going back because of all the remakes and realizing that this game actually wasn't that bad. You know, it's a pretty good co-op game, and I think for this being my first entry, I don't think it was a bad place to start because the controls, I would say, are still better than Resident Evil 4. I struggled a little bit going back to 4 after I played 5 and 6 and whatever else we'll be looking at here. And yeah, so I think this is a good place to start with Resident Evil. You know, disagree with me if you want, but you know, I think starting with 4 or 5 is probably not too bad. And after Resident Evil 5 came Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. And I know a lot of people like this game for the co-op aspect and had like a bigger multiplayer mode and everything, but I did not like this game at all. I think this one is pretty poorly made. I didn't even enjoy it in co-op, to be honest. Multiplayer is not great either. And I think I've mentioned this multiple times on this channel that how much I don't like this game. And you would think it would have redeeming qualities in co-op as well, but just the zombies are bullet sponges in this one, and your weapons are not great at all. And you run out of ammo constantly. You get grabbed and get infected all the time. So this one's too aggressive. You know, it doesn't matter if you're playing on easy or on the hardest difficulty. It's all very sucky in this game, I would say. So yeah, Resident Evil Raccoon City or Operation Raccoon City. I wouldn't play this one again, and unfortunately, I've started this one and the games when it's live, and I still have kind of the S ranks and all that stuff to do in this one. Thankfully, I did all the multiplayer already, so I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, not a good game at all. And I should have mentioned that with Resident Evil 5. Obviously, they all pretty much have multiplayer as well. Resident Evil 5's multiplayer was okay. It wasn't too terrible. And then we had Resident Evil 6. Also, wasn't the biggest fan of this one, but I can see why people like it. It has that interesting structure with the different campaigns, the different characters, and I can see the redeeming qualities in this one too. But if I were to compare this to something like 4 and 5 without being a Resident Evil fanboy, I just didn't know if this really reached the heights that it could have. I don't know if I enjoyed the weapons as much in this one. I didn't enjoy the stories that much. There were a couple of campaigns that I did enjoy, but I just was a little bit lost in this one for some reason. Multiplayer also was annoying, kind of similar to Raccoon City. So yeah, it's one of those games that I wanted to like. Whether or not it's a Resident Evil game, a lot of people say that, you know, it's a good game if you don't think about it being Resident Evil. I would maybe give this one like a 6, literally a 6 out of 10, or like a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's any better than that, so. But yeah, that's how it goes. I just gotta give my honest opinion, right? Like, that's Resident Evil, I think, to me, especially the ones on the 360, are a little bit hit and miss. And I would like to obviously go and play the remakes and go and play some of the originals. I still have the digital downloads for those on the 360. And here's Resident Evil Revelations. This was a 3DS game. And I will tell you, I did actually enjoy this one. I feel like this one was had better pacing to it and just kind of soaked up the story a little bit better, I feel. It wasn't as chaotic as Resident Evil 6, in my opinion. So you were just basically on the ship, and you play as Jill Valentine in this one, and also Chris Redfield. So yeah, I thought this one was pretty good. I'd never played it on the 3DS, but I thought this port was pretty good. So it's a very grindy game though. I still have a lot of achievements left to do here. I did play through it twice at least, and I still don't even have half the gamer score in this. So yeah, it's a pretty grindy game, but definitely worth it though. You can play part of this in co-op as well, not the campaign, but the raid mode or whatever it's called. So yeah, pretty interesting mode for sure. It's kind of like a horde mode. And then we had Resident Evil Revelations 2. I like this one even better than the first one, and this might actually be my favorite Resident Evil game on the 360. Was also released on Xbox One, but I think this one is kind of underrated. You have also local co-op in this one, which is kind of interesting. There's no online co-op. And you play as Claire Redfield in this one, and she has all the weapons and the stealth, and then you also have Moira, I think the other girl's name is. She has the flashlight and can stun people and find secrets and items for you, and so it's an interesting combo. Like I said, I think this one should be talked about more. I think it's pretty good, and I don't know if we'll ever see Resident Evil Revelations 3, but yeah, I think this one is worth playing, and yeah, surprisingly good actually, and has some interesting game modes for the 100% completion. And I should have mentioned this is kind of episodic as well, so very different format from the others. Maybe a little bit more similar to Resident Evil 6 in terms of the format, but definitely worth playing it, and yeah, why not pick it up on the 360 as well? Okay, moving on to the next shelf, to a series that is sadly no more. And that's Saints Row, and this particular Saints Row, the very first one, was an exclusive on the 360. I did do all the multiplayer achievements and all the co-op stuff here, which there's like 2 co-op missions I think you can do, and you know, they can be a little bit tough because you have to do it without dying basically. So, but yeah, this is obviously a classic on the 360, and interested in playing more of this one because I played all the others except for this one. So definitely very urban and very old school. So, but you know, it became kind of a competitor to GTA at the time, right? And then we had Saints Row 2, which I did play through all the way. I got all the achievements on this one. Co-op is great in this one, really fun. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of grindy achievements in this one too, with the open world aspect, of course, and lots of activities you have to do and get through all the story missions. And there's multiplayer in this one too, which takes quite a while, but this one is really fun. So definitely grab a friend and play some Saints Row 2. I would recommend that on the 360. Really fun. And then here's Saints Row 3. This was my first Saints Row. Again, probably grabbed it through Games with Gold. I think I had the physical at the time as well, but you know, since I was playing a lot of Xbox Live, then I just grabbed this one, Games with Gold. And this one didn't disappoint either. Like, I really liked this one. Had a little more sense of humor, I would say, versus the previous 2, which is good. You know, it started going a little bit over the top from here, but I really like this one. I think this might be my favorite alongside Saints Row 2. So yeah, definitely worth playing this one too. And I never played this one in co-op, so you know, give that a try. I don't know if I don't think you have to play it in co-op. There's no achievements related to it or anything, but definitely more fun in co-op as always. No multiplayer in that one, as far as I remember. All single-player stuff. Or co-op, for that matter. And here's Saints Row 4. Also like this one. This one was definitely over the top, I would say. So yeah, it was superpowers and all sorts of weird stuff. Alien abduction, alien takeover, and yeah, this one is kind of weird, but it's still fun. If you just want to have that Crackdown prototype game, Infamous, a little bit of Infamous sprinkled in there as well, this is basically what this game is. So yeah, a lot of fun, and I played this many times over because they had a lot of different region-specific ones and stacks, so probably the one I played the most, for sure. And then they had this bigger DLC thing here, Saints Row Get Out of Hell. This one was okay. I wouldn't say it's better than the other ones, but it was more kind of like I said, a bigger DLC that had a standalone physical release, and it also had like a combo pack with Saints Row 4 on the Xbox One. So, and it's worth playing through if you like Saints Row and you like Johnny Gat. You know, it's kind of a little throwback to some of the earlier games, but you know, you are in hell here, and yeah, so it's a very different setting. But yeah, it's an okay game. It's not gonna blow your socks off. And then we have one of my favorites from this generation, top 3 material. Probably I'll have to do a process of elimination here in the end. So yeah, definitely top 5 for sure. I love Sleeping Dogs. Caught me by surprise. I guess I just picked it up and didn't know much about it, but yeah, wow, the story is great, the gameplay is great, the open world is great. It's just like I always say with open world games, like I think this one is just big enough, especially for me, and there's a lot of activities you can do in here, a lot of side missions, and yeah, really fun game. I think it rivals, for me at least, you know, something like Saints Row and Grand Theft Auto in terms of that style of game. I would put it up there. I know it doesn't have the longevity, of course, of those 2 other series, but definitely up there in one of my favorite open world games. Great game. And then we have a series here that turned into one of my favorites, and I've even gotten Scarole to partake in some of these as well. And that's Sniper Elite V2. Another game that kind of caught me by surprise. I had played this demo through Xbox Live, just downloaded it, and I was like, yep, you know, this seems pretty good. And when I played it, I enjoyed it even more. And yeah, definitely has some co-op elements in here. There's some Overwatch missions and some other missions you can do in co-op here. I don't remember if the campaign has co-op. I think the remastered one may have added co-op. I'm not 100% sure, but there's definitely a single player co-op in here. Nonetheless, I mean, this is a great sniper game, and probably the best sniper game out there. There's not many of them, but you should play Sniper Elite V2. It's really good. And here's Sniper Elite 3. This is the Ultimate Edition, comes with DLC. Most of the DLC, at least. I think it has it all. There's one that has some difficulty with the achievements popping, but that's where I think I said in my video last year is just get that DLC, because if you want the achievements, you have to own it digitally, oddly enough. I don't know what causes that, but here's at least the Ultimate Edition for it. And another great game, I played this one in co-op with a friend, and we had loads of fun in this one. I would say it's a little bit harder than V2, because we had to play it on authentic difficulty, I think. That's what they kind of started doing in the end, and they can be pretty tough. Yeah, I think it's like, not permadeath, but at least for that mission, you have to go back to the beginning. So yeah, it's pretty tough, but you know, if you take your time, or if you have a strategy, then it's pretty manageable, I would say, but can be pretty tough. This one also had multiplayer, I think, but it's pretty easy to get done, so it's not too bad, but I highly doubt anyone's playing this in multiplayer today. But you know, you can also play this one on Xbox One, of course. It was one of those multi-platform, or at least ported to Xbox One. And then here's a series that I've talked about a little bit. I haven't talked about it a whole lot, but it's absolutely one of my favorites of all time. Here's Splinter Cell. So this is Double Agent, which this is like the limited collector's edition here. So it's pretty cool. Cool little slip case here. It looks kind of weird when you have it off, I guess, but it's pretty cool when you when you do that. So yeah, Splinter Cell is amazing. I love it as a stealth game, and yeah, we haven't seen a Splinter Cell game in a long time as well. I'm hoping we'll see something soon. I thought this one was pretty good as well. And it has like an interesting co-op mode I had a couple of friends play this game with me, and we overcame the challenges, and I did complete this game, but probably one of the harder Splinter Cell games to complete, I would say, due to that. But, you know, play through the campaign and try it out on OG Xbox as well and see how it fares on there, see what the differences are. And then we have Splinter Cell Conviction, which is the first game I played on 360. I'd played all the other Splinter Cells in the past on OG Xbox and stuff, but this was the first one I picked up on 360 because it came out around the time I got my console. Played this one in co-op with a friend as well. Not the story mode, but it had like a separate co-op mission structure and separate missions, which was a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoyed that. And in terms of everything else, yeah, I think this was a pretty solid Splinter Cell game. More action in this one, and yeah, crazy times. But yeah, I definitely recommend this one, and it was an exclusive on the 360 as well, so definitely worth playing Splinter Cell Conviction. And I had a weird phone game too that I did play before they shut down the Windows Phone store or like the services for that, so that was a weird experience. And then here's the last Splinter Cell that we saw, Splinter Cell Blacklist. Also another fantastic game. I saw some gameplay recently of this, and I almost forgot how good this game is. And because, you know, it's been, I would say, 12, 13 years since we've seen Splinter Cell, and kind of similar to Rayman. Like, those are two of my favorite Ubisoft games, and they just stopped making them. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's scandalous, I would say, because we need more Splinter Cell. We need more Rayman. So, but Blacklist is great. Also played this one in co-op, and had some weird multiplayer achievements in here as well. I think it was like Spies versus Mercs, which a lot of people liked from. I don't remember which Splinter Cell that was from, but it might have been some of the older ones, or maybe from Double Agent. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I think it was from Double Agent, actually. That's the game mode that I played with my friends. So, but Blacklist should be played, should not be missed. This is a fantastic stealth game, and yeah, I would say one of the best stealth games on this console, for sure. And then we have the final shelf here, which, yeah, we're finally here. It would have taken way longer though if I'd gone through every single shelf for every single game, but like I said earlier, I wanted to just go through some of the ones that I have memories of, or at least left an impression on me. So let's start off here with Tomb Raider. So this is Lara Croft Tomb Raider Legend. So this is more old school Tomb Raider, of course. It's not like the reboots. Controls are going to be a little bit different here, and I remember years ago someone was saying that like the old Tomb Raiders are better than the reboots, and as a longtime fan of this series, I have to say the reboots are so good, and no, they're better than the old ones. They definitely are, and it's good to know that at least it's the same company. It's made all of them here, so it's still enjoyable to go back and play these. It's a little bit different, of course. It's much harder in a sense to play these again because the controls are a little bit stiffer, not quite as stiff as if you went back to the very first Tomb Raider, which also came in the form of DLC here. So there's Tomb Raider basically Anniversary that's on this one here, but you have to download it, of course, through DLC. But I still think it's a good game to play through. I was obviously drawn to this with my history of Tomb Raider and playing the very first one, and I think I played most of them actually. But yeah, it's worth playing it though. I think it's still good, and I would say maybe it came out on OG Xbox as well. I think it maybe did, yeah. And then we had a standalone here for Lara Croft Tomb Raider Anniversary. Like I said, came in the form of DLC in the previous one there, but they released it separately and has a separate achievement list as well and different requirements, but it's essentially the same game. So this is a remake of the very first one. I don't know if they added anything else to it, but it plays and looks, obviously, it looks much better than it did when I played it in the 90s, but it plays very similar, I would say, to the oldest Tomb Raider games. But, you know, worth playing if you want some of that nostalgia or want to experience the early Tomb Raider games. And this is Tomb Raider Underworld. I would say this one is probably better than the previous two in terms of controls and kind of updated graphics and everything. I'm still working my way through this one, but from what I played, I really enjoy this game. So maybe not talked about enough, I don't know, but yeah, Tomb Raider Underworld is good. And then, of course, we had the reboot here. The Tomb Raider came out in 2012, 2013, something like that. Fantastic game. I really like this reboot a lot. Also played it on Xbox One. It's such a late game that I think it holds up well. You know, this was kind of late, kind of like Last of Us, you know, in terms of the release here. So, yeah, absolutely worth playing. I love these ones, and I do think they're better than the older games, for sure. And that's coming from, like I said, someone who's played all of the old ones, and you just gotta get with the times, I guess. And here's Rise of the Tomb Raider. This was even later than the previous reboot. This is, in my opinion, the best Tomb Raider game. And I played this on PC. I played it on Xbox One. I haven't played this one yet. But yeah, I'll definitely get to it soon. But it's a lot of Tomb Raider to play if you stack these games. So I got to take my time with it. But this one stripped out some of the endurance challenges, I think. So there's no co-op in this one. But it has everything else. So all the other DLC and all the other challenges and story mode is obviously present. But I'd be curious to see how this runs on the 360. So, because I know some of the later games didn't run that great, and I'm sure we saw that on the PS3 as well. That you know, struggled a little bit to get it properly optimized to play on the older console. Okay, moving on from Tomb Raider. I'm not going to go through all the games in this series because I haven't actually played all of them, but I've always been a huge fan of this IP, and that's Transformers War for Cybertron. And I'm just going to feature the Cybertron games because I think they are some of the best kind of IPs. I don't know what you would call this, toy series. But yeah, I was a big fan of Transformers when I was a kid, and the Cybertron games are great. So I started with War for Cybertron, and yeah, really fun campaign, and yeah, these games are highly recommended. So I would think if you can get your hands on this, it's well worth it because it is a great game, actually. It's not just like an expensive game or whatever, but yeah, really fun games. And then start with War for Cybertron. Why not? Had some interesting multiplayer as well that I did play through. And here's Transformers Fall of Cybertron. I think this one is the best one. I think I like this one a little bit better than the previous one. So I think this might be the one where you play as both sides, or maybe you do that in both of them. I don't fully remember, but again, another great game here. It had some multiplayer in this one too, and they did remaster this one on Xbox One, or like at least port it, and then they pulled it from the marketplace like almost immediately. So it was kind of a weird situation on the licensing here, but I really hope Microsoft will bring back these Transformers games because I really enjoy them. The Cybertron games in particular. Okay, coming up on the last few here, and I had to include this, and it's not that these are my favorite, but since they're exclusives, I just wanted to include them anyway because I have played most of them, and that's Viva Pinata. And again, mostly because this is an exclusive. This is by Rare, of course, and I mean, surprisingly enough, a lot of people have enjoyed these games. I think I'm somewhere in the middle on these. I think they're fine. I don't think it's something I want to invest my entire life in playing over and over again. I sometimes, with management games or simulation games, I have a hard time doing it with a controller. So I prefer mouse and stuff for those things. So we'll see. Maybe I'll play it on Games for Windows Live first, and then see if I like it even more. But I have played a good chunk of this one, and I think it's fine. I think they're, you know, cute games, right? And pretty accessible. I don't think it's too difficult, but you get to spank a lot of piñatas in this game with your shovel, so, you know, and fend off whatever that weirdo is that tries to invade your garden all the time. And then you had Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise. More of the same, really. I don't know what really the difference is here, other than you could use the Vision Cam on this one, which, funny enough, we do own a Vision Cam. We own a couple, actually, because we have it as part of one of the collector's editions, or like the release for You're in the Movies. So we have a couple of those, but yeah, you can use that crappy camera. But yeah, just more of the same here. But, you know, if you want to have exclusives in your 360 collection, you know, you kind of have to have Viva Pinata, I feel. And I was going to say with the first Viva Pinata as well, you might see a slightly different version of that when you go to a store. But that's like the standard one. And then they had like a weird other plastic cover that was available as well, which I didn't get that one because I don't like how it looks on the shelf. So I just didn't get it. Okay, last Viva Pinata here, a little lesser known here. That's Viva Pinata Party Animals. This was made by a different company, not by Rare. This was by Chrome Studios. I think they made like the Tasmanian Tiger games. So this is what it implies, a party game. So you do little party games, and there's some viral achievements and stuff in here. And I think even Trouble in Paradise had a viral achievement as well. That's a little bit tougher to get. But yeah, Party Animals is okay. I mean, it's just like local party game, and I'm trying to think if it even had the online components to this. But, you know, again, it's just Viva Pinata, just in a different format. So, you know, you can give it a try if you want, but, you know, this will complete the Viva Pinata set at least. Okay, final series here, and excited to talk about this, of course. A little bit underrated, I would say, this first title in the series, but I don't know. Maybe this will be one of those games that they can remaster someday. Who knows? Probably not, but this is Wolfenstein. So this in itself is sort of like a continuation of Return to Castle Wolfenstein, or in a sense, kind of like a reboot as well on the 360. I would say that I bought this in the batch with Far Cry 2 and a couple of other games, and I was kind of looking by year, I guess, and going backwards, and I found Wolfenstein, which I think is 2009. But yeah, I like this one. This is by Raven. And yeah, I mean, it's not overly complicated to play this one, really. I mean, I think it's a pretty basic shooter in that regard. But you have the supernatural, you have the zombie stuff, you know, you have the weird Wolfenstein stuff that you would expect at this point. So I really enjoyed this game. It's probably not rated as highly as I'm rating this game, but you know, let me know if you like this game. I think this is one of those games that aren't talked about enough. I really like this one, and I actually played the multiplayer in this one too. Like, it was a weird experience, but kind of similar to something like, you know, Max Payne 3 and those where you wouldn't expect to like the multiplayer. This one was very simple, and it's a fun game though. So you should definitely play Wolfenstein. The reboot, the first one on the 360. And then we also had this one. I got to talk about this, Wolfenstein: The New Order. So this is more or less, you know, again, similar to something like Titanfall and some of those early Xbox One games that they also ported to 360. So yeah, I played this one as well. This has 4 discs, I think. And yeah, I played this one on both Xbox One and 360, and I think this is probably my favorite Wolfenstein game, to be honest. Like, I really love this reboot. I played all of them at this point, but yeah, this one, in my opinion, is the best one. And yeah, great game, really great game, and I think it runs well on the 360 as well after installing most of it, I guess. But yeah, fantastic game. I love Wolfenstein series. That's going to be it for today, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep the 360 dream alive.